Hello everyone, welcome again, and do not forget to subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed, and hit the bell button so that you get notified anytime I post a video. So this video is about something the Minister of Petroleum, Port Kang Cho, said recently to the Minister of Finance, the new Minister of War. It's a vital reminder. One of the things he said actually caught my attention. This is what he said. The Ministry of Finance should not be turned into a cashier office. It is a ministry that is planning for our lives. Let the money go to spending agencies so that you will be able to hold them accountable when the time comes for audit. Now, this is something that reminds me of what used to happen in refugee camps and displaced camps. And these were camps that were run by SPLA officers. For those of you who lived maybe in Sudan controlled areas, or those who were in Khartoum, or those who were in Egypt, you may not be familiar with this. But in refugee camps and also displaced camps, there's this tradition that was practiced by SPLA and many people who were refugees and displaced persons. There used to be a chairman, or the leader of the camp, and people would go to his or her office, and mostly it was him, mostly SPLM commanders. They would go to the office and would ask for what they called musadat, assistance. And so these musadat were usually food items. They could be, maize, sorghum, oil, sugar, anything that is, eatable. So you would go to the office, people usually line up outside the office, and they'll make their case, and the chairman would write whatever you're going to be given. So you go to the store, and then you give them the paper you'll given, whether it's a sack of maize, whether it's a gallon of oil, whatever you're given. So it was specified by the chairman. And that became a tradition. Usually women who were, widowed, they would go to the camp official, and that became a tradition. Now, when SPLA became the authority in Juba from 2005, that tradition followed them. So they didn't think of the ministry as a conventional ministry. And if you have to have Musadat, they have to be under a certain program, a certain ministry. So, but as Port said, so people would just go to the authorities, whether it's the president or whoever is concerned, and they write a check and they go to the Minister of Finance to release the funds. So it's that kind of musada. So people expect the state to give them money directly, either from the minister or from the finance or from the office of the president. That should not happen. In Canada, for example, people who are poor, people who cannot afford their living expenses, they go under a government program. For example, in Canada, there's something that's called social assistance. And social assistance is under a certain ministry. And social assistance is mostly provincial. In Canada is divided by provinces, not state like in the US or Australia. So we call them provinces. So each province has its own program. For example, in Canada, we don't have a national ministry of education. So education has been devolved into provinces. So it's a province of each province. So if people want assistance, to be assisted, they go to that ministry. It's a special program. So you cannot just go to the government and they give you a check from the Ministry of Finance or from the office of the Prime Minister. That doesn't happen. So in South Sudan, that is a problem, because people expect the government to give them money directly. And you expect salaries to be paid on time, if they're paid at all. You expect development funds to be available, and this money is being spent through individuals. So I think if the reforms are effective, these reforms can direct people to say, okay, if you are someone who is poor, if you're a widower, or if you are a veteran, there should be a ministry that dispenses that money. It should not be the Minister of Finance. So what the Minister of Finance does is it supervises allocations to different ministries. So the only people who should come to the Ministry of Finance for money are the ministers. And they should not even come to the Ministry of Finance because the budget is approved by Parliament. And then the money that's allocated to each ministry goes to that ministry as it is allocated. So there's no point of actually people coming to the minister, because unless if the budget delayed or the budget has been cut without explanation, then they come to the minister to explain. But the idea of turning the Minister of Finance into a cashier office is a problem. But how do you solve that when it has become cultural? That's where the minister has to step up, and also the president. The president can stop this. If the president stops it, no one can actually say something. But this is why services are not being provided to South Sudanese, because the money that is supposed to be used for service provision goes to individuals. This has to end.